Welcome back to the day's show where we're following, of course, the funeral of the late President Robert Gabriel Mugabe. As we promised earlier on, we will be giving you updates that shall point towards where the body goes, what happens today and beyond, because tomorrow we still are to know what will happen and where the body will go before, of course, there should be a wrap-up in the culmination to the 30 days plus when the mausoleum will be complete, where his body will find its final resting place. Now we've got images from the Blue Roof where we've got our people on the ground and they shall be giving us information. We've got Takuzwa Chiambakwe at the Blue Roof and he should be giving us information and an update anytime soon. We also have visuals from the State House where we may be getting updates as we progress. My name is Robert Nkodiwa and this is Zimpapers Television Network. We are proud to be associated today with Nyaradzo Funeral Assurance Home and indeed Janjam. We're crossing over now to Takuzwa Chiambakwe at the Blue Roof. Takuzwa, tell us what is going on and get an update from Mr. Mugabe. Basically, we want to know what happens today and we also want to know where the body is lying in state today and what the program is tomorrow and how it's going to wrap up.
All right, thank you so much, Robert. We are here at the Blue Roof. The body just arrived a couple of, just about 2 hours ago from the National Sports Stadium, where you already know that different heads of state from all over Africa and the world at large came through to pay their last respects to the former President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, President Robert Mugabe. Right now, we are joined by a family spokesperson, Leo Mugabe, who's just going to give us updates as to what's going to be the plan, as we've been notified that the family is going to be traveling to the rural home, KwaZimba, tomorrow. So I'm joined here by the family spokesperson, Leo Mugabe. Mr. Mugabe, just tell us, we had the chiefs having a meeting just a few minutes ago. The meeting just ended. What was the outcome as to the plans regards to the trip tomorrow?
The plan is that the heirs will leave here at 9 o'clock in the morning for Zwimba, going to Murombedzi, where the Zwimba people and Mashona and West people will be gathered tomorrow, so that they can give their respect to President Mugabe. So basically, that's really the update. They need to sleep over at Kutama. Then maybe Monday it will then come back. Then it will be then taken to a mortuary to be preserved until the Heroes Acre is ready. Yeah.
All right. So are there going to be any rituals that are going to be taking place? Just tell us what formalities are going to be taking place in KwaZimba.
There are no rituals per se. You know the chiefs who simply do their normal thing, clap hands and tell their ancestors what has happened and that sort of thing. That's basically what it is, if we're talking cultural. But otherwise, we're going there for the people of Zwimba and the people of Mashona and West, who should come in their thousands to come and bid farewell to their president.
All right, we've been seeing a lot of people coming through over the past couple of days to pay their respects to Mai Mugabe and the family. What will happen now? Will the house still be open, or will you now be, closing it after the Zwimba trip, after you return from Zwimba?
No, we don't. Those who want to come and pay their condolences, there will be people both here and Zwimba, where they can go and pay their condolences. Otherwise, we couldn't have a funeral. You cannot close when you have not buried. Yeah, you still be open, but you are not having people gathering as we have been doing in the last week. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Mugabe, for that update. All right, as you heard there, Robert, the body will be leaving for KwaZimba, the rural home, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. It will lie in state in the rural home, and they will return back most probably on Monday. But there was also talk that they might stay over till Tuesday morning. So that's the update we are giving you from the Blue Roof. Back to you, Robert.
Takudzwa, do we know any updates of what's going to happen tonight? Is there a program there at the Blue Roof tonight, or this is effectively at the end of what has happened or what was transpiring today? I think
all right, tonight there might probably just be a musical concert, as was the case in the past 2 days. Can you hear me, Rob?
Certainly, we can hear you. Go ahead, Takuzo.
All right, I was saying today we might most likely just continue with the concerts that have been happening. For the past 2 nights, we've been having a couple of artists coming through to perform here. As you know, in when we have a wake in the traditional setup, people gather in the night and they play drums and they celebrate the life of the deceased. Here it's a bit different. We've got bands that have been coming through to perform on different nights. We've got artists like Suleiman Chimbetu, Zimprez, Sabasu Magacha who have performed over the past 2 nights. Most probably that's going to be happening today, as we saw the sound engineers just taking their positions on the stage. That's just a few meters behind me here, so most likely that's what's going to be happening, but mostly now it's family that's being allowed to enter into the second quarter of the yard, because when you enter, there's the entrance where you get to see the stage. That's where most people are arriving at the gate, and then there's another barricade where then you come to the house. We've seen that now they're restricting it more to family members. So most likely tonight they're just going to be also some musical performances.
Do you think there could be any significant speeches that will be delivered at that musical concert? Is there something significant with regards, people coming and addressing the public, or are we pretty much at the end, at the tail end of what ought to have happened today?
Well, not at all. I think the major news was the arrangements for traveling tomorrow. Was in the meeting, there was also the family nephew, Walter Chidakwa, who was also present in that meeting. He highlighted earlier that these were the key pointers that they were really discussing today. There was not much activity that's going to happen tonight. People are just going to rest as they prepare for the trip tomorrow to their rural home.
And you talked about a certain area where people are allowed to convene, where, of course, the concerts have been happening. Could you tell us about the mood there today, perhaps in comparison with previous days? How many people are there? What's the ambience there? And indeed, you're also at the National Sports Stadium. Perhaps you may want to elaborate on the general ambience that you got on the ground when you were there at the National Sports Stadium.
Well, I'm just going to ask Louis to pan to my right here. As today, there aren't many people today at the Blue Roof. I believe mostly family members are now, very close family members are now present, just consoling the family, making plans for the trip that's going to be taking place tomorrow. The mood is generally on a low today. Not much activities happening. Just family members. And then at the stadium there was a lot of excitement, of powerful, energetic performances from different ensembles that were putting scintillating performances and dazzling the crowds that came through. And I think to top it off was the 21-gun salute and the fly past from the Air Force. So I think the climax for the day was experienced at the National Sports Stadium, and this night at the family home here at the Blue Roof, it's a bit on the low as most people are actually just moving around with their bags preparing for the trip tomorrow. We've actually been told that some of the chiefs after the meeting that happened just a few minutes ago are actually making their way to the royal home.
At the home, are you able to take us perhaps into the home? What's happening inside the home? Because last time we had some images that you had of inside the home. There was quite a bit of activities. There's still an interesting activity inside the home, which we can actually follow.
Well, for now, we're not being allowed to enter. I think they're also just having a couple of caucuses to just put some finalizations to all the plans. You know how it is in the traditional setup. You need someone to stay at the house. You need to know the party that is going to travel, and just to make sure that everything is secure. So they are in a haste to ensure that everything goes flawlessly, even as they plan to leave tomorrow. So unfortunately we cannot show you the images in the house. I can also tell you that over the past couple of days, since Wednesday, there have been traditional ensembles that have been entertaining people here, singing hymns, just to encourage the family, just to lift the spirits of the family that is mourning. But tonight that has not been happening. Most people just came through and had their lunch, and from then on they started to pack, and some already are dispersing, as I highlighted earlier on.
Well, thank you, Takudzwa. Indeed, if anything comes up from your end, we shall be here waiting to hear if anything will pan out. We're not sure right now at State House. Indeed, there was a state banquet. We've got visuals from State House, and we've had dignitaries going there. The banquet has ended, and there were a couple of photo sessions there with the president and leaders from all over Africa, and of course that Chinese delegation who came here to be a part of this historic occasion. Now, to wrap it up, we can take that walk back to why we're here and what has made this day possible. Founding Father Robert Gabriel Mugabe passed away last week on Friday, the 6th of September, at Gleneagles Hospital in Singapore. And his body was flown back to Harare on Wednesday. Whenceforth we received it, and we've been tracking the funeral from that time, taking you on the day after, which was Thursday, where there was a parade held in his honor, where people from all walks of life really had the opportunity to file past and see the body of Comrade Robert Mugabe. Happening also on the next day, which was yesterday, other people at Rufaro Stadium also got that opportunity to view the body. People coming from far and wide, buses from all the provinces, bringing people in who wanted to be a part of this historic occasion. Today, we then had the main funeral process going ahead at the National Sports Stadium. We had a lot of international dignitaries also delivering their eulogies and their speeches, after which they went and had a banquet hosted for them before leaving Zimbabwe. A lot of them are leaving as we speak. And indeed, as Takudzwa said, after that big funeral, things have seemed to peter out a little bit, and the greatest that we await is his homecoming tomorrow. The body, as you heard, leaves at 9 a.m. in the morning and will be going to Murombedzi. We will let you know of where that process will be taking place, if it's a stadium or whatever grounds it shall be held at. And as you can expect, we shall be giving you updates on that as well. We'll take a very short break, and when we come back, we'll resume and give you more information. Welcome back as we continue to track the funeral of the late President Robert Gabriel Mugabe, who passed away at the age of 95 last week. We've been giving you images from the Blue Roof, and we've been seeing quite a lot of feedback of people saying we want to get inside the house. And indeed, we've tried to make those arrangements so that you go, you see the ambience, you feel what's going on within State House, and Takuzwa Chiambakwe and his team are on the ground doing that for us right now. So those are images there at the Blue Roof where you've been seeing mourners still gathered, of course, in their little numbers now, as Takuzwa told us in that update. Indeed, it's been a marathon, and understandably some would want to retire home and rest for a little while before, of course, heading for Zimba tomorrow, where the body heads at 9 a.m. in the morning. We shall be with you. We shall be traveling to Zimba and giving you images of what happens there, and perhaps indeed the return of the body to Harare on Monday, as Leo Mugabe speculated it would be. And then after, of course, we'll just be keeping tabs on the story as the weeks go by, because it's 30 days no less for the mausoleum to be built for the resting place of former President and founding father Robert Gabriel Mugabe. Before we wrap up this lap of our broadcast, let us go to Blessing Manatsi, who is at State House, so that he can give us an update and a brief wrap-up of what has been happening there, what has been happening at Rufaro Stadium, where there was that main funeral, and indeed just wrap up the evening and let us know where we stand with regards to the program. Blessing, if you can hear me, can you give us an update of what is happening at State House, what was happening there, and where the program stands at the moment?
We are at the State House right here in Harare, the official state residence, and proceedings continued from the National Sports Stadium. Just like I said, His Excellency the President of Zimbabwe, Emmerson Mnangagwa, had invited the foreign heads of state and former heads of state, as well as foreign dignitaries, for a luncheon that was hosted at the State House. This, of course, bringing to an end one Saturday that is certainly not an ordinary Saturday by any means. The President is still meeting the former heads of state as well as other heads of state, including former DRC President Joseph Kabila, as well as former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo, former President of South Africa Jacob Zuma just left, as well as other service chiefs Valerio Sibanda, Godwin Matanga, as well as Paradzai Zimondi of Zimbabwe Prisons and Correctional Services. But the festivities here and the interaction of the former heads of state and foreign dignitaries certainly bringing out that inclusive approach towards proceedings of today, and very much a befitting send-off for Zimbabwe's former President Robert Mugabe.
Do you know, Blessing, whether there was any bilateral interaction of note between the President and any other head of state from any other nation that was present today?
Hello, Robert, can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Blessing, I was asking whether there was any bilateral interaction between the leadership of Zimbabwe and any leadership from the visiting heads of state of note that you may have picked up on. We seem to have lost Blessing there, but generally he gave us what was a comprehensive analysis of what had happened at that luncheon, and indeed the interactions between the heads of state who had come here for that epic funeral of Robert Gabriel Mugabe. Indeed, as Blessing said, this was no ordinary Saturday. We are pleased to have shared this Saturday with you. We are pleased to have walked down this road with you today, because today was a piece of history in the making, a piece of history that we shall speak to our loved ones in later years to come, because we have just watched and witnessed a very rare moment. We shall, of course, be going live tomorrow as the body goes to Zimba, and we shall be part of yet another piece of history, that remarkable homecoming. It has been a long day, and expectedly so. And indeed, this long sunset continues. My name is Robert Mkondiwa. It's been a pleasure being with you. Iweneni Tinebasa. Asante sana.